I've always been pretty scared to have children. Part of it is just I feel like I'm still very stupid, can't take care of myself. Part of it is my own selfishness with my time and money. Part of it, I'm just scared. But why in the flying do you care about that on a sneaker channel? I swear I'm going to bring it around, but Kobe Bryant, a player that I definitely absolutely admired, seeing him post-retirement and spending time with his daughter GiGi Bryant and just the utter enjoyment that he seemed to have being a father, it was definitely very inspiring. Now, tragically, of course, in 2020, Kobe Bryant and his daughter GiGi would pass away in a helicopter accident. Since then, Nike has been releasing a special GiGi Bryant colorway on her birthday, and this year, I'm lucky enough to get my hands on a Nike Kobe 9 Low Protro EM Mambacita. And the shoe dropped on May 1st for $180 in the United States. And of course, this was a shoe that dropped on GiGi Bryant's birthday. And if you didn't know, the EM on this shoe stands for Engineered Mesh, and it was released as a slightly cheaper version of the Kobe 9s. And I'll get to some of the reasons why it's cheaper later. So the other version of the shoe is the Kobe 9 Elite, which I've reviewed a few pairs of those. If you want to know more details, definitely check those out. And the Protro in this shoe stands for Performance Retro. So Kobe Bryant didn't just want to retro his shoes, he wanted to upgrade the performance. So he actually came up with the term Protro. And first impressions of this shoe, love the colorway, really like the colorway. It's kind of a black and white gray gradient kind of shoe. I don't love gold on sneakers, but for whatever reason, on this shoe, on this colorway, I think it works really well. I think this is a very nice looking shoe, especially with this type of marble type of pattern that you see on the lateral sidewalls here. Yeah, I love it. The Kobe 9s, I know a lot of people don't like the high version anyway. It's just a bit too much for a lot of people. I don't really mind them. I kind of like how funky it looks. The low cut version, I think it looks really good. I think the Kobe 4 in terms of the shape, probably my favorite. I love the Kobe 1s as well. So it's kind of close race between the 1 and the 4. But the Kobe 9 lows, yeah, I don't really have any complaints. Now the upper of the shoe, this is where it is the most significant difference from the Elite versus the EM. So you get, instead of Flyknit that you see on the Elite version of the Kobe 9s, you get engineered mesh. You see a bit of fuse on that toe area, and the engineered mesh here, it is not like super thin. Some like old engineered mesh can be like pretty flimsy, just not very durable. And then you get this gold swoosh that is just printed onto the shoe. Now moving up the tongue, get a pretty regular mesh tongue. And at the very top of the tongue, you get that Mamba logo that is supposed to represent a sword and a sheath. And that is actually like raised in this kind of rubber material. So it's not like solid, there's like a softness to it. And the tongue material itself, it is pretty interesting, feels kind of like velvet. And then right behind the tongue, you see Mambacita and GiGi Bryant's number 2. And the angel wings as well. Another place where you'll see GiGi Bryant's number is on the back of the shoe, number 2 with a love heart. And that is actually mismatched. So on the left shoe, you just see GiGi. Usually where you'll see like the 9 lines on a general release Kobe 9, that is meant to represent the stitches that Kobe Bryant got when he tore his Achilles. You don't see that here. And on the back of the shoe, this material feels like the same on the tongue as well. So got this kind of rubbery layer to it. Now over here on the lateral side of the shoe, you see these braille-like dots. That is the Mamba code, and that says masterpiece. On the medial side, you'll see 3 words, and that is Vini Vidi Vici, and that means I came, I saw, I conquered. And on the lateral side of the shoe, you will see Kobe Bryant's signature. Now the shoe does come with 1 extra set of laces. So out of the box, you get these black laces with some gold speckles, and the extra set of laces is just black. Out of the 2, it's so similar, don't really mind which one. Yeah, I can take any. And you also get this little keychain, hang tag, whatever you want to call it, with the same type of branding that you see on the inside of the tongue. Mambacita, number 2, with angel wings as well. And box of the shoe, you get this very elegant white box, and you see Mamba scales all over. Mambacita branding on the inside of the lid. Very, very beautiful gold paper. Now moving on to the cushioning of the shoe, the Protro version of the Kobe 9 replaces the original Luna Foam drop-in midsole. It is still a drop-in midsole. Replaces the Luna Foam with React Foam, which is more resilient, more durable, slightly more responsive. I personally just have never really loved drop-in midsoles. I know some people want to feel like that kind of cushioning and responsiveness directly underfoot, but I prefer if it was like a more traditional setup because it is a drop-in, you're sitting directly on the drop-in and you're sitting actually relatively low on this shoe. You get a very like low profile feeling, on-court feel that is really good for a lot of basketball players, and it is pretty balanced in terms of responsiveness. But for me, as someone that is over 30 years old, doesn't have the greatest knees, I think a drop-in is just, I don't know, this feels too close to the ground compared to something like Cushlon 3.0 or like full-length Zoom X. At my age, I just prefer the plushness and kind of bounciness, and with this drop-in React foam, when you first start playing in it, for me anyway, it kind of feels slightly muted, but once you wear it in, just play like half an hour to an hour, like actual full court basketball, it does start to perform pretty nicely. Just overall, very balanced cushioning, but still not my personal ideal setup. One thing that I've always hated about it is you see these patterns and grooves on the drop-in here. When you slide your feet in and you're wearing socks, it just like gets your socks stuck. So you have to like hold on to the top of your socks and really push your feet in, otherwise it drags your sock down with it, and it just becomes a pain and a chore to really stuff your feet into this shoe. And one thing that is very disappointing about the Kobe 9s in general, Elite or EM, there's no Zoom Air anywhere on the shoe. So they didn't add this for the Performance Retro version of this. And I don't know why, but the traction of this shoe, it is pretty outstanding. So you get this like foot map type of traction pattern. It does take a little while to like wear in, but I wore this shoe same day as I played in the Asia A1s. That has decent traction, but this one on a pretty dusty court, which was where I was shooting this B-roll, you can immediately feel the difference. I wouldn't say it's the best I've ever felt. I still think the EQLZ 24/7 is, in my opinion, but if you have a little bit of patience, wear it in, traction performs really great. The rubber on the shoe isn't like the most densest and thickest, so I would definitely recommend you keep this shoe indoors. And one thing about these kind of patterns, rocks can get within like the grooves here, so you really don't want that. Overall, I recommend just staying indoors with the Kobe 9s. And the Protro version does add an enhancement to the traction in the form of this little tiny line at the top of the toe. And one good thing about this type of traction is you see how it extends all the way up onto the toe area. So even when your feet, for whatever reason, when you're playing ball and it goes like this onto the court, still provides some traction there, some friction, so you don't slip and like really roll your ankles. Now, one thing the Kobe 9 also lacks, in addition to the lack of Zoom Air, is a shank plate underfoot. So there's no like extra kinetic energy return. But in terms of torsional rigidity, you do get these TPU plates on the lateral and medial side of the shoe. TPU here on the EM version, it is not carbon fiber like you see on the Elite version of the shoe. That's one of the reasons why this shoe is slightly cheaper. But these TPU plates are pretty solid as well. Does a pretty good job in terms of torsional rigidity and side-to-side support. When I was doing like lateral movements, felt pretty well protected. And in terms of the base of the shoe, it is decently wide. The outrigger isn't super aggressive, but that kind of wide base also provides some stability and support. And the engineered mesh here does feel thick and strong enough where I don't feel like my feet are gonna bust out when I'm doing really hard movements. I will say that I'm a super lightweight player, so if you're like a huge forward or center, I recommend you get a second opinion. In terms of the heel counter here, really isn't like the stiffest type of heel counter, but for me, it was enough, most satisfactory. I didn't really feel like I had any heel pain after playing in these for like 3 hours. So yeah, overall support for a lightweight player, if you're a shifty guard, shouldn't have any issues. Now in terms of sizing and fit, I am a wide and flat footer. For Kobe 9s, I usually just stick true to size. It's actually one of the few Kobe's where as a wide and flat footer, I don't feel like it's really strangling my forefoot and I really have to have patience and break the shoe in. In fact, with Kobe 9s, there's a little bit of dead space in the toe area. Nothing where I would like change the sizing or how I size the shoe, but yeah, lengthwise, widthwise, it's actually one of the better Kobe's for my feet. So whether or not you have wide feet, I do recommend sticking true to size. And in terms of just overall comfort, like outside of basketball, just wearing these, I think it is a little too low to the ground to be like considered a very comfortable shoe, which can be a very good thing if you're just using these for basketball. A low profile kind of shoe is preferred for a lot of players. Kobe Bryant really prioritized that as well, like a really nice court feel. But if you are someone that are more used to like walking shoes or very thickly cushioned shoes, this definitely might feel kind of weird. What I do like is the ankle collar padding for the shoe and the way it's like cupped. This kind of waterfall type of pattern and shape here, like really cups and locks your ankle into place. So there's no heel slippage there. And in terms of the weight, Kobe Bryant was actually obsessed with shaving weight off his sneakers. So this, for my shoe anyway, weighed in just under 14 pounds. Is it the lightest basketball shoe ever? Nope. Is it light enough? Absolutely. And if you don't think so, man, you are a high maintenance complainer. Now, compared to the Kobe 9 Elite lows, which one would I prefer? I still think I would prefer the Elite version, even though it is more expensive. I do like carbon fiber on sneakers. Just, I don't know, it just elevates a sneaker. I just love how it feels. I love the density and just the lightweight nature of carbon fiber. But compared to like my favorite basketball shoe right now, the Sabrina 2s, which one would I go for? Still definitely going with the Sabrina 2s. I think the overall verdict of this shoe for me is the drop-ins work relatively well. It's pretty balanced cushioning in terms of responsiveness as well as impact absorption. But at my age, at this point in my life, I don't like a shoe that's so low to the ground. But yeah, it just doesn't feel too good on my knees. I prefer some type of cushioning, a little bit more plush, a little bit thicker than this. And I do prefer if a shoe had like a carbon fiber plate in the midfoot area. I don't love basketball sneakers where the shank plate extends all the way like full length. That can feel pretty stiff. Like out of the box, you really got to get used to it. I prefer just one in the midfoot, and I do definitely prefer if this shoe had some zoom air in the forefoot and heel. So a few things lacking on the Kobe 9 low EMs, but overall it is still a very well performing shoe. And on the special colorway of the Kobe 9s with this storytelling, yeah, I like it even more. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Soul Inclined. Let me know what you think of the Kobe 9 low EM Mambacita. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes